Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Wednesday! It is Hump Day! Hump Day, Hump Day, Hump Day. Ah, I never know if the 15th or the 16th is the official middle of October, but we are officially in the second half of October. Would someone please explain to me where the first half went? Because mind blown. Anyways, it's Self-Care Wednesday. I figure I've been rambling a lot this week, so I'm just going to give you a break and let's make this short. I know. I always say let's make it short and then it ends up being like epically long, but for real this time. I'm just going to jump right into it. Okay, so how are you doing so far this October? I know there's a lot of people who are excited about Halloween. There's a lot of people that are excited about the holidays coming up. Next month in the US, we have Thanksgiving. But I know there's also people that are probably stressing about that, have anxiety about that. So let's do this to kind of check in with ourselves, okay? So, again, halfway through the month, how are you doing? So from Full Spirit Quotes on Instagram, all one word, Full Spirit Quotes, I got this little ditty, and I love it. 6 lessons for October. Now you're probably thinking, Shelly Marie, maybe you should have done that at the beginning of October. I know, and I forgot. But actually halfway through the month, I think it's a good idea to use this more as a kind of a measure of where we're at halfway through October and heading into the full-blown holidays. So let's see. The first one, and these aren't in any order, okay? They're not numbered. I'm just saying the first one. So, oh my goodness. I just saw somebody pop on. And you know what that means. It's Hump Day! Hump Day, Hump Day, Hump Day. So I always do that now at the beginning because, she's so busy. She doesn't always get to come on, but I saw her just pop on. So anyways, oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She loves my hair. I know, to be honest with you, this is... Don't know what to do with my curls because they're half curly, half straight, and they're not cooperating. So, poof, into a ponytail. But, all right. So, again, we're at 6 lessons for October. And, again, I know you're wondering, why did you not do this at the beginning? Well, I forgot. Yes. But, again, just to repeat, for those that have just jumped on, this is more to see how we're doing in the month of October. So again, how are you doing halfway through this month as we head towards the end of October? We're in the other half of the month now. So once more, these do not have any particular number. Oh, nice. She's baby sibling is able to pop on today, and I'm excited because I don't get to see her much anymore on here because she's super busy, which is good, right? Because being busy makes the day go by faster. So all right, first one, every day is a step forward, even if it is small. I'm going to read all these through, okay, and then we'll talk about it. Change is a sign of growth. Don't be afraid to try something new. Little victories add up. Don't overlook your progress. Be gentle with yourself. You're doing the best you can. Find one thing to be grateful for every day. It can change your perspective. And take care of your mental and physical health. Balance is key. So the first one, every day is a step forward, even if it is small. I think a lot of times we're a little hard on ourselves, right? It's kind of like, well, I had 10 things on my to-do list today and I did 4 or 5. Maybe you even did 6. But instead of focusing on the fact that you got at least half of your list done, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, you're focusing on the 4 that you didn't do. So here's the way to maybe overcome that. Prioritize your list. If those 4 things that you didn't get to, you're probably thinking, well, they're not that important. I can do them tomorrow. They're just kind of, miscellaneous things that are on my list. But if you're stressed, if you're busy, if you're feeling a little bit of anxiety, you're going to sit there and go, oh my God, I should have done it all. Because those things are so miscellaneous, I should have been able to do it, and I didn't. Don't sweat the small stuff, okay? We always talk about that. Don't sweat the small stuff because when we do that, we make the anxiety, the stress, everything worse. Pat yourself on the back for what you did do. Even if you only did one thing today, Pat yourself on the back for that, because you know what? If you only did one thing today, you may have so much going on in your head that you feel kind of paralyzed by everything. So even if you accomplished one thing, that's great. And if you didn't get to your list today because other things might have come up, it's okay. The list is still there. The list is still waiting for you. All right. I think a lot of times we put so much pressure on ourselves that we forget baby steps are big steps. Okay. Because in anything in life, whatever kind of journey you are on, the first steps, which are usually the baby steps, are the biggest ones because they're what's putting you on the journey. Those little steps towards that big goal at the end, or that, one of the big goals at the end, is starting. It's starting. So just remember that, okay? Every day is a step forward, even if it is small. Change is a sign of growth. Don't be afraid to try something new. So we kind of talked about this yesterday, right? With the F fear topic yesterday. And it felt like it was all over the place, right? But I was trying to give a lot of different levels of examples yesterday. And I think one of the things that we forget too is that growth is necessary. Change is growth. Change is progress. If our founding fathers decided that they just wanted to maintain the status quo, we'd still be a British territory, right? And I'm nothing wrong with that, because I love Britain and I'm a bit of a Britophile. But they thought, hey, let's have some progressive thinking here, and let's we're tired of all this. Let's start our own country. And obviously there was a lot that went onto it, not just like, hey, bye. No, there was a whole war about that. But actually two. But I know we always talk about the Revolutionary War, and the War of 1812 just gets thumbed over, right? But that was kind of like part 2 of that first one. So anyways, change is a sign of growth. Don't be afraid to try something new. And as I mentioned yesterday, we talked about how fear sometimes gets in our way. And the card yesterday, the self-awareness card, was about doing one thing that that you're kind of afraid to do, or just do something a little bit out of your comfort zone, but push yourself to do something that that might put a little fear into your life. For instance, we'll go with the fun stuff, right? Maybe you're afraid of these sorry I got a rogue hair there. Maybe you're afraid of those Halloween haunts, right? I mean, I think I thought of that because I thought of baby sibling. And I went to, oh God, it was so funny because it was in my dream last night too. I can't remember what it was called, but it was at Old Tucson, and she's on, so I know she'll know. But boy, I went there and I was scared out of my ever-loving mind. I just was like paralyzed with fear. I did not want to do anything. And my cousins were going in and out of the mazes. I just sat with my aunt. I just kind of like, my Auntie Snooky, and it's kind of like, I don't want to be here. But I kind of regret it now, because they're not going to put you in an unsafe environment. I mean, it's there to give you the jump scares, right? I'm not a big jump scare kind of person. I like my horror movie in my TV, not in my face. Nightfall. Thank you. Nightfall. Oh, anyways. Yeah, for some reason that was in my dream last night. There was like random fireworks happening in the background, and I thought, oh, that's that thing at Old Tucson. And I went there once. I didn't like it. But like I said, I have a little bit of regrets now, because, it's not something I would go on my own, but because I went with a bunch of people, I do have minimal regrets. But again, if I had done this show and I had gone there, I would have been, okay, you know what, push yourself a little bit, just go in there and do your thing, do your stuff. So, but I didn't. So we have to ask ourselves, on a life level, are there things that we want to do, but we're too afraid to try because we're afraid to fail? The question always seems to be, what if I fail? We forget to ask the other question, what if I don't? So going back to yesterday's topic, what if you don't fail? What if it works? Instead of saying, what if I fail, just say, what if it works? And if it doesn't, what is that one saying that, you didn't fail at something, you just found another way not to do it, right? I mean, the light bulb didn't invent itself overnight. The light bulb took time. It took time to figure out how to make it work without the thing exploding like 2 seconds after you turned it on. And now look, now we have these light bulbs that last months and sometimes years. So, I mean, knock on wood, because I feel like I'm really pushing it with this desk lamp that's shining on my face. Not the big ring light, but this one. I've had this thing for like 7 years and I still haven't changed the bulb in it. Knock wood, knock wood. Because, I mean, I have the bulb, but I'm just kind of like, I'm so attached to that little light bulb now. I'm always waiting. But yeah, that little bugger is, and I use my desk light quite a bit. But it keeps on going. So, just give yourself a chance, okay? So last time, change is a sign of growth. Don't be afraid to try something new. Little victories add up. Don't overlook your progress. So I'm going to make this one a little personal. Last night I wrote a bit of an epiphany of sorts that I had yesterday on Facebook. And I was talking about how, it's been really hard, here at the Canterbury Tales. And I know people are like, why are you calling it the Canterbury Tales? Well, because I live on Canterbury Court. And because, I probably should have said that. But anyways, you don't know where I live. And we have kitties. So Tails, Tails. I'm sure Chaucer will forgive me for making that into a pun. Good morning, Eileen. So yeah. But anyways, here at the Canterbury Tales, like I said, I'm going to share my perspective on this. It's been a rough year. It's been a rough year. It's been rough on every level that you can possibly think of, from, the regular financial worries to physical health to mental health. And, as we come towards the end of the year, I think I finally got a grasp on it, because for the last 7 months, I've primarily been a caregiver, and sometimes to my dad when I'm in San Diego, but mostly to older sibling, because she fell. At the beginning of the year, she got bronchitis, which turned into pneumonia. Then she gave it to me, and then I don't know how she did that, but when you live in the same space as someone's bound to catch something. But I think it was the stress, because usually I can fight off things very well. But I was trying to take care of her, because unfortunately, sometimes the littlest things can set off CRPS or RSD, whichever you want to call it. And RSD is more commonly known now as CRPS, which is chronic regional pain syndrome, and it's like the granddaddy of chronic pain. So it's like the parent of fibromyalgia. So, and I'm not dismissing fibro, because that's pretty hairy itself, but RSD is kind of takes it to another. It goes next level. It legit goes next level. But I was thinking, I was feeling guilty about a lot of things. I was feeling bad about a lot of things. And I was kind of keeping myself in this cycle of I don't want to say victimhood, but it kind of felt like it when I came out of it. Like, just, oh, woe to me, poor me, blah, blah, blah. I have to do this and I have to do that. But then I thought about it yesterday, and I overlooked my progress in all of this. And I hope older sibling doesn't mind me sharing. Oh, good morning, older sibling. She just popped on. I hope she doesn't mind me sharing about what I wrote about on Facebook last night. But I thought, because of her dinged wing, and also she didn't just tear her rotator cuff, she dislocated her bicep. So the doctor had to go in there and do some major upper arm surgery. So she's not just recovering from a rotator cuff. She's always also trying to get this bicep, not only to stay reattached, but to kind of rebuild the muscle, because the muscle's kind of like, whoa, what's happening? It's kind of sliding off into the ether. But I thought, you know what? The other day I was just doing my gratitude, and then not last night, but the night before, all of a sudden, it's like I was laying in bed, and yesterday morning I thought, whoa, I have been overlooking my value in all of this. And this isn't to toot my own horn, but for all the caregivers out there, sometimes it can get so hard that we don't think about how we're helping someone's progression. See, older sibling is not ambidextrous, not even in the slightest. But not only that, she has trouble already with her left arm after her back surgery. So a lot of the nerves don't work. Like literally she could hold a hot potato and wouldn't feel it. It'll burn her, but she won't feel it because the nerves don't really work there. So it's also hard for that because when you can't feel things at certain times, you can't grasp it. So that being said, I thought, if I wasn't here, where would she be in her healing? Would she be progressing along as fast as she is? Or would she still be, stuck kind of, in this little circle? And then I thought about all the appointments that she has this week. It just, every so often it happens this way because she has a pain management appointment, and then Friday she has her checkup for her arm, but it also works its way in between all the therapy. So I take care of her schedule. I'm basically her personal assistant, which I love because, it's something I enjoy doing. I love taking care of people's schedules and stuff. But, I schedule her. A lot of times she does it herself, but when I'm not around. But and like the grocery shopping and all this stuff, just a lot of different things that I didn't really see, but she's been trying to tell me that I've been doing. And I think that's where, when on this one, little victories add up. Don't overlook your progress. Don't overlook your progress, because that was a new mindset for me. It's like, instead of being angry at the situation I was in, I started showing gratitude for it, because for some reason and somehow we are making it, we are managing. And in the process of that, we're getting her better. And that's the goal, to get her better. Trust me, it is not easy being a caregiver to a Taurus. They are notoriously stubborn. And I think even if she wasn't a Taurus, she's still notoriously stubborn. I mean, this is a girl that when she was born, and how they always slap you? She hit she punched at the doctor. I shit you not. I asked her mom, I said, is that real? She's, oh yeah. She just took a swing at him, and even the doctor was laughing. And he's, oh, this is going to be a feisty one or something like that. I don't know if those are the words he used, but it's kind of like probably what he was thinking, right? Like, oh, we got a feisty one here, but she is. She's feisty. But I started showing gratitude towards the situation, and I started looking around at different Post-its that I have around my desk and thinking about how in a lot of these things I've undervalued myself. And I think that's the one thing we shouldn't do. I'm not saying go out there and boast to the world, hey, I'm super great. I'm not going to stand on my rooftop and say, hey, MFers, you may think this, that, and that, but us, but you know what? We're making it. And that's okay to do, but you don't want to sit there and brag about your own achievements. I mean, it's nice to feel the congratulations for it, but after a while, it just sounds like bragging. Like if you watch The Big Bang Theory, right? And Howard goes to the moon, and the next 2 episodes when he comes back from, or not the moon, sorry, he was on the space station. Next 2 episodes, it's just all about how he talks. So yeah, well, I went to space. And they throw it in every so often throughout the rest of the series. I went to space. And I'm sorry if I didn't spoiler alert that for you guys, but come on, the show's been off the air for like 5 years now, so you get a window with me, because that episode was about 10 years ago. But anyways, there's one thing about that, but sometimes we're so excited about our achievements, we do want people to know. Just, mind how you talk about it, but more importantly, be excited for yourself. You're not doing this for anybody else. The reason I shared my story on Facebook was because it finally dawned on me that when we really show gratitude, we can change our perception of things. We can change our outlook on things. And I know older siblings been trying to tell me that, baby siblings been trying to tell me that, and it's not always easy. And I know they both know gratitude isn't always easy. It's not always easy to be grateful when you're in the eye of the storm, right? You're like, oh my God, it's like, okay, it's calm right now, but I know the rest of it's coming. And how we deal with that is kind of where the gratitude comes in. Those are our little victories, when we can sit there and look somebody in the face who might be yelling the crap out of us and just say nothing. Or when life is throwing us baseballs right at our head and we can't duck. And we just kind of like, okay, that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to be okay. Sometimes it's what we need to do. We just need to take a deep breath, or 50. Take a lot of deep breaths and just say, you know what? This isn't permanent. It will get better. So don't overlook your progress and celebrate your victories. Okay. So the next one, be gentle with yourself. You're doing the best you can. I think I just talked about that with what I just talked about. We're always doing the best we can. I used to hate that saying. It's like, I'm doing the best I can every day, because sometimes I think we can do better. I really do. That's still my thought. Sometimes I think we can do better, but in that moment, we're doing the best we can every day, and if you want to do better and you want to do more, push through, find a way to push through. I talked earlier this week on Monday about the whole journaling process and how I kept circling back and, circling the same subject over and over and over again, trying to find different ways to come at the healing journey, because I was afraid to leave the healing journey behind, because it was comfortable. And I finally had to nip it in the bud. I had to put the wrench in the gears, right? Because it's like, no, this isn't the way it's supposed to be going anymore. It's like I'm purposely keeping myself here. And so at that time, I was doing the best I could every day, because I was trying to work up the courage to move into a new mindset. Until one day I had that courage and I said, you know what? I'm done. From now on, unless something triggers me, or unless something sets, a little bit of an emotion up there, or just a little bubble of emotion happens to pop up, I don't journal about it anymore. I don't look for reasons to journal about it unless it has its own actual reason to journal about it or to talk about it. So, be gentle with yourself, because you are doing the best you can. And just, like I said, it goes back to that very first one, right? With the list. Even if you only did one thing on that list, that's okay. Even if it was just getting out of bed today, if that's all you could do and that's all you were mentally capable of doing, that's okay. I was talking to a friend the other day or last night, and I thought, they're all like, yeah, well, I haven't been very motivated, as you can see, because I was talking about the other day how we share our exercise stuff. Yeah, I haven't been motivated the last 2 days. Last night, I got 5 hours of sleep in shifts. The poor cat wasn't feeling well at one point, and that woke me up. I couldn't go back to sleep for like 3 hours. And, we'll see how I'm doing at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. But the point is that we just do the best we can. And so I wasn't motivated to do any exercise today. My motivation was sleep. And, but again, when we're ready, we'll push ourselves. Stop finding excuses to not do it and just do it, right? Change is a sign of growth. Don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid of progress. Progress is good. Progress is this country. This country is basically built on the idea of progress. So find one thing to be grateful for every day. It can change your perspective. I just talked about that too. Find something you can be grateful for every day. It could be the smallest thing. Yesterday when I got home, there was this beautiful crow. I thought it might have been a raven, but they both kind of reflect purple. So hard to tell, and they kind of both look alike. I don't know the difference between the two. They're just beautiful blackbirds, right? There was only one. And I'm like, I gotta look up the spiritual meaning of this, because this bird is trying to tell me something. Crows are smart. Ravens are smart. These are some smart animals. All right. Parrots get all this credit for learning how to talk. Ravens and crows can learn how to talk. They can mimic and kind of have their own conversations with themselves. And I'm not kidding. I saw a whole video on it about this lady who rescued a crow, and it was just kind of like, or a raven. It's like, what? But be grateful, because it can change your perspective. I show gratitude to my old journalings, to my old healing journey. And at some point in that gratitude, I found the courage to move forward. It's not easy. It's scary. That's why I talked about it on Monday, because there was a lot of different things I went over about moving into that. And it's still a little scary for me. And I still sometimes find myself trying to go backwards and saying, nope. But I have to tell you, I'm building now on these really good days. This morning I tripped over something, and I thought back to one of my sayings. Now, because I didn't get much sleep, I could have just said, well, this is going to be that kind of day because I didn't get much sleep. And I said, no, you know what? It doesn't matter if I didn't get that much sleep. You know, if I have to, I'll take a nap, like a 10-minute nap later, and I'll be fine. But I usually do okay without a lot of sleep. And I had to remind myself of that. So it's kind of like, no, you know what? I'm not going to let this ruin my day. So that's where our perspective can change. Gratitude can change our perspective, even those bad days. Because like I always say, guys, we're human. We're going to have bad days. We're going to have days where we don't feel so fresh, right? We feel kind of like everything is a head shake. Everything is like, why? Or what the hell? And it might even go to the WTF or the WTAF if it's that bad. But when we have gratitude, when we find gratitude, we can center ourselves before we explode, right? Like what did I call it the other day? A shell explosion, like a shell explosion. So again, find one thing to be grateful for every day. It can change your perspective. And the last one, take care of your mental and physical health. Balance is key. So, I'm not going to tell you to take care of your physical health because that's up to you. But I am going to tell you because I struggle with that. I struggle with my own physical health. All right. So I'm not really one to talk about that or to speak to you on that. I can talk to you from a place where I understand how hard it is and how hard it can be to get motivated. But the more I take care of my mental health, the more I am motivated to take care of my physical health. Now, that may not be everybody. Okay, that may not be everybody. Everybody may be perfectly fine where they're at. And that's okay. Because I'm going to do a body positivity series pretty soon. And I'm going to try to talk about all the different aspects of different parts of it. Because it's not just about thick people. It's about thin people too. It doesn't matter what shape or size you are. Everybody has, not everybody, but lots of people, any size, have body positivity issues and body shaming. So I will talk about that later, but that's been one of my hurdles, I should say. That's been one of my hurdles, but is the physical health. But I have noticed that as someone with a dinged up mental health, the more I take care of my brain, the better I start to feel about everything around me. The more I stop shaming my brain and just accepting that it is the way it is, and that's okay, there's nothing wrong with it, I start to feel better about it. I was one of these people that really wanted my depression to be situational. Turns out it was not. It was not, and I do require an antidepressant. And I'm not worried about that anymore. I don't care who knows. I am a fun-loving person when I want to be. I'm a very passionate person about certain things when I want to be. And I have opinions. But we're all doing the best we can every day. I know it's kind of like, what? Glitch in the Matrix? No, it was me trying to think of the next word. I try to choose my words carefully when it comes to mental health because I know it can be a rather fragile thing. Like yesterday, older sibling and I were watching this, like a pop culture type of show, and they were talking about somebody and they're all, well, they have mental health issues, so it could have been that. It's like, no. Okay, that's the one thing that drives me nuts. And I'm going to put it in here because it's talking about take care of your mental and physical health. One thing that absolutely drives me nuts is when people use mental health for their own agenda. I do not like that. There are people struggling out there. There are people suffering from mental health problems. There are people who will not get help because it is constantly stigmatized. And we need to stop stigmatizing it. We need to put it on the table as a conversation and make sure people get out there and get the help they need. That they have the courage to get the help they need. That they don't feel ashamed getting the help they need. You don't have to talk about it. I talk about it because, as I mentioned last week, I'm doing my best to be a voice for the voiceless. And voiceless doesn't mean you don't have a voice. It just means I'm not out there shouting on the rooftops like thousands of other people talking about this. But I need to shout it on the roof from the rooftops of my own life. I need to make sure I hear the message, right? And that's what I'm trying to make sure is that the voiceless have a voice for themselves, that they find their voices for themselves. Baby sibling does, she speaks openly about, a lot of the struggles, especially being a mom, right? Like a teenager and a preteen. So, or coming close to a preteen, it's just kind of like, it's those precarious years where, they find their voice. And they start testing boundaries. But I speak from experience as a teenager. But I didn't really test a lot of boundaries. I think my mom thought I did, but a lot of my stuff was just kind of like, I don't want to get in trouble, but I did have a mouth. I did have a mouth. But yeah, I know that's my own personal opinion, my own perspective on that, but it really does drive me nuts when people try to weaponize mental health to fit a narrative. I also hate it when people make fun of people by using their mental, by calling them names about their mental health, or, saying, oh, well, they're probably this, that, or the other. We don't know. And it's that negative thinking that keeps people from getting help. It takes more strength than anything to get help, professional help, because you're putting yourself basically in the firing line of your own weapons, your traumas, your negative views on things, whatever it might be that is causing your mental health. Even if it's just acceptance of your own mental health, you're kind of putting yourself in in the line of your own fire. And you have to be brave enough to face that part of you. And it's scary and it's hard, but it is so worth it. It is so worth it. And that I speak from experience. And like I said, for those who might be watching, now or later, well, I know the ones now know all this stuff, but if you're watching this later, right, you're not on the live, you can do this stuff from your phone now. You can do this stuff from your computer now. You can do it on the phone. My personal therapist, before I graduated, she even told me, if you're never not feeling well, because I had to call in sick one time, like just the morning of, and I felt so guilty because I have the first appointment of the day. But she reminded me she had to be there at that time anyway. So I'm like, okay, I feel better. But she did tell me, she's all, if you're ever not feeling well, you're more than welcome to just, to call, and then we can do a web, a Zoom call. But unfortunately that day it was a sinus migraine. So that I was just, down for the count. But if you have a cold or whatever, but that aside, it's possible. Your therapist will work with you in any way they can. They are trained to listen. They are trained to be a safe space. And that's what I want to say about mental health. I hate it when people use it as, again, to fit a narrative, because it's not right, because all you're doing is stigmatizing more people. And there was a time when I was very stigmatized and I didn't get the help I needed until way, way later. And I want to say I used to regret that. But now I realize everything happens for a reason, and I'm exactly where I'm meant to be at the time I'm meant to be here. I'm at the age where it's only been maybe a year or two that I've really had full acceptance of my mental health and the state that I'm in. And that it's up to me every day to maintain that balance. And that I do know there are going to be times where I can't and I might start to spiral. And it's up to me to either reach out for help or to figure out how to pull myself out of that before it gets any worse than it does. Because as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I didn't want to admit that I have literally been in a years-long spiral. I wanted to convince myself I was out of it. I was not. And I had to deal with that. I had to come to terms with that on my own. And I'm not ashamed of it. It brought me to where I am now. So, did I want it to happen? Absolutely not. Did I think it would really be that long? Absolutely not. Did I even notice it was that long? Hell no. I didn't, until I started looking back at the signs and thinking, you know what? Even in a spiral, I could still be in a good mood. But then when that mood was over, my cup was empty again. When all that fun stuff was done and I was back in my own environment, it's kind of like, whew, right down again. So it was all about picking ourselves up. And sometimes when we get that mental balance, we can get that physical balance too. So again, I'm not telling anybody what to do with your bodies. That is up to you. And like I said, next week or the week after, because I really want to do a good job on this one. I really want to kind of make a lot of good points. So I'm really doing my research on this. But I admit the research is coming along slowly, because it's a little hard for me too, because there's a lot of my own demons that I have to face when it comes to body positivity and body shaming and where I'm at. And so there's a lot of truths that are coming out for me that I have to kind of just, you know, deal with and move through to make it something that everyone will understand. So again, yeah, those are your 6 lessons for October. I'm going to put these in the comments of the Facebook post. So if you're watching this later, all my lives are public under Shelly Marie Lucas. Anybody can watch them. Anybody can look at the comments. So you're welcome to come into the comments and find that, because I can't post it on YouTube. I will put it on TikTok as well, as its own post. But I said this was going to be short. This was not short, but I have some older sibling has an appointment this morning, so I got to get my butt moving. But anyways, have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Baby sibling, Eileen, older sibling, thank you so much for being on. And I will see everybody back here tomorrow, Thursday, October 17th. Holy moly. Where did the time go? Where did the time go? Oh, anyways, have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.